Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 14 here in VPL 1 Victoria. It is the Preston Lions taking on FC Bulleen Lions here at Jenna Steele Stadium. My name is Josh Parrish. I'm delighted to have Nick DeBano alongside me in commentary this evening for this doubleheader. Nick, you've just seen the Preston women go down 2-0 against the Bulleen women's team in a titanic clash. Plenty of quality on display out there, and now it's time for the men. What do you make of this matchup and Bulleen Lions form coming into the game?
Well, it's two contrasting sets of form going into this contest. I mean, Preston have been just so good over the last couple of months, you know, on this unbeaten run. I think, was it 7 games in a row in all competitions? Bulleen, though, they haven't won a game in their last 6 in the league. They haven't won since that game against Clifton Hill in the Doherty Cup on Good Friday in the league since March 25 against Werribee. Saw them on Monday night against Northcote. They're coming off a very short turnaround. They were improved from that 3-0 loss against Western. It was a great goal scored from Mark Carita, but in the end it was quite a tightly fought affair. We saw how these two teams played earlier this season at the Veneto Club. It was very much similar to that game against Northcote, a 1-1 draw. So looking forward to seeing how this one plays out tonight.
Well, we'll take you through the starting lineups. There are a couple of changes from that Preston Lions team who defeated Lang Warren 4-1 last week. It's Conor Bell who goes to the bench after suffering illness during the week. Marcus Schroen is out through injury, and Aaron Anderson is suspended after picking up his 5th yellow card of the campaign. So it's a rather makeshift back four with no Jake Trajkovski to choose from. So Preston a little short at centre back. They've got Dom Foligno who's come in to start. Andrea Roxandich comes into midfield to replace Marcus Schroen. And as we kick off here, Choctaw is into the starting lineup ahead of Conor Bell, who is on the bench. And for Bulleen Lions, 3 changes from the side who drew 1-1 with Northcote on Monday night. As Marcus Demanch gets an early touch in the box. Jego nipping in, and Adrian Valenti only clearing as far as Cooper. Now Carita. Ball stays in play. Valenti digs it out. Up towards Will Bainham. Westerdale loses out, and here comes Brandon Lawton for Preston. Lawton finding Wesley Gibello. Gibello down the flank. Sees his cross deflected away by Jake Cardillo. Well, as I was saying, 3 changes for FC Bulleen Lions. Dennis Menelau and Finn Harbinson go to the bench. Jamie Wilson and former Preston player Marcus Demanch come into the starting lineup. And there's a change between the sticks, Nick, with James Sechrist dropping out for Ethan Reid.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting change. James Sechrist started the last 2 games against Western United and Northcote and was very good, but Ethan Reid, of course, was the number 1 heading into the season.
Here's Gibello carving a path into the box, and Wilson puts a heavy challenge in, very well timed.
Yeah, Ethan Reid was the nominal number 1 for most of this season, then was dropped after the defeat against Eston Royals in the Cup, and they brought James Sechrist in, gave him a go, but decided tonight, Giuliano Feberino, to go back to the guy who we trusted for the first few months of the season, Ethan Reid, which I think is a bit of an interesting change considering how well Sechrist had played in those 2 games, but we'll see if maybe that bears fruit today.
It's going to be Adrian Valenti to take the corner. Rain misting down here at Jenna Steele Stadium. Valenti loops it high towards the back post. It's off the head of Foligno and behind for a goal kick. Well, Preston maybe at a slight height disadvantage off the set pieces compared to usual. They don't have Aaron Anderson attacking the ball. No Marcus Schroen, who we know is hugely dangerous off set pieces. And this match a prelude for Preston before the massive Australia Cup tie against South Melbourne on Tuesday night. So make sure you pre-book your tickets for that one. Of course, memberships will be honoured at the gate, but if you don't have a membership, want to Want to get your tickets sorted, and there are links all over the Preston socials. Just make sure you're using the right link if you are a Preston Lions fan. Don't want to be using the South Melbourne link that gives you a ticket at the South End. Cardillo losing out to Rock Sandage, who knocks it away. And Ethan Reid will gather. Well, it's an even record head-to-head as Luke Jego wins it back. A bit of a sloppy turnover from Puppy there. Here's Will Bainham for Wesley Jabello. Knocks it back for Benji Leviticos. Valenti for Jego. Now chocked out. Down the line for Jego, and now Valenti. Couldn't keep it against two Bulleen defenders. And Marcus Demanch couldn't get the ball in time. Preston setting a pretty urgent early tempo here, Nick.
Yeah, being able to sort of control things. You know, they've had the extra few days break as well, which you think as this game wears on with Bulleen coming off a 4-day turnaround compared to Preston having the full week, it will certainly work in their advantage as well.
Well, the schedule has been heavy on Preston, but they've been given a bit of a relief recently with a full week's turnaround this time. Bainham fires it in low. And just wrong foot's chocked out.
The thing that we're going to see from Bulleen tonight that Preston have to contend with is that they like to sit back in a low block. They've looked to play almost exclusively in transition and prefer the game to be open. So I think it comes down to having a little bit of patience in that final third against this Bulleen defence. But of course, this is a Bulleen defence without their captain, Marco Bagaric, as well, which does certainly suit Preston going, you know, a bit more of a makeshift centre-back pairing of Papi and Ivan Gergic, who, look, great centre-back partnership, but it's not the same. You don't have your captain, your leader down there, and someone who's been so consistent like Bagaric.
Well, similar situation for both teams.
Absolutely, yeah.
A natural right back having to deputise in the heart of defence. Foligno in Preston's case. Jean-Louis and Barashayo in Bulleen's case, who prefers to go by Papi. Alec Mills goes back to Bon Scott. Healthy turnout here. A very, very chilly Friday night in Reservoir. Chockdown coming back from an offside position. The head-to-head record between these teams, as I mentioned earlier, is even so far since Preston were promoted to what is now known as VPL 1. A 4-3 win away at the Veneto Club last season and maybe the game of the year, followed up by a 2-1 loss at home, where Preston's form had really gone off a cliff. And then in the opening rounds of the 2024 campaign, a 1-1 draw.
And what a great occasion that was in round one. Packed house at the Veneto Club, great turnout. Of course, Bulleen opened the scoring early in that game through Mark Carita, and then a penalty, and Preston were able to pull one back, but it was such a tightly fought game. I think today might be a little bit more open compared to that, though.
Yeah, in that game, Bulleen were very content to sit in a block and absorb pressure. Here's Wesley Jabello. Has a 1v1 to exploit. The Frenchman glides past Cardillo. His cross is a little too deep for Will Bainham, but Chockdown collects and recycles on the other flank. Valenti for Rock Sandage. Marshalling the base of midfield again today. Lawton. And we've got an injury issue here. And Wesley Jabello has just gone down.
It's like he's holding his right shoulder, yeah.
Maybe collected late or lost his balance after delivering that cross. Can't say I caught it in live play, but...
It's been some great form as of late, hasn't he, Josh? Wesley Jabello. been some amazing form, especially starting to hit the scoreboard in the last few weeks, which has been so great to see for his confidence.
He certainly has. He scored against Langwarrin. He scored against Brunswick City, a really impressive solo goal at Dunstan Reserve. And that's 4 goals in all competitions for him this season, and he seems to get better every week. Slow start to his tenure at Preston, but as he's approached full match fitness, he's shown his true quality. Former Marseille junior who did debut in Ligue 1. Valenti finding Leviticos, taking up a narrow position. Wesley Gibello providing the width. Just monitor him for the next few minutes and keep a close eye on that shoulder. He's still running a little gingerly. Gibello, Wilson strong in the challenge. Cardillo. Oh, I have to say, Jamie Wilson playing a lot deeper than I expected to see him. He seems to be deployed as a number 6, the Scotsman.
Yeah, and in recent weeks he started to play a lot further deeper. I mean, those who have seen Jamie Wilson play down here in Victoria would know him as a winger or more as an attacking midfielder, but as of late they've made a bit of a move, played him a little bit deeper and moved Carlton Westerdale further forward, who's now playing, as you can see, the number 11 out on that left-hand side. So perhaps going for a little bit more speed in Westerdale compared to Wilson, who's a bit more crafty, a bit more of a technician. And he's fitting pretty well in that position as well.
Bainham just slipped as he delivered the pass. Cardillo couldn't keep it away from Lawton, took a heavy touch. And Lawton chips it into the channel for Gibello to deliver the cross. And perhaps Will Bainham just being down on his haunches for a moment meant Preston didn't have an obvious target in the area. That ball's actually trickled out on the far side. It's going to be a goal kick for Bulleen. Really heavy rain here now, and that is going to play havoc with the action out there tonight. Could be a wet, wild occasion with mistakes and traction in the mud playing as much of a role as tactics and skill.
It is absolutely coming down here at BT Conor Reserve.
That's Ivan Gergic. Just didn't really get an angle on it for Westerdale.
One thing I'm fascinated to see is the match-up there. I see them lined up on each other right now. Is we know Andrei Roxandic is going to play a lot deeper and a bit more defensive. Is how he and Brandon Lawton go against Luke Lofts, who of course was the Golden Boot winner in this league last year. I think that's going to be a little fascinating match because, you know, when Lofts can get on the ball and show his great technical capacity, that's when Bulleen look at their most dangerous. So shutting him out of the game, I think, is so key if Preston are going to be able to come away with 3 points today.
Well, Preston fans all too familiar with the work of Luke Lofts last year. He scored home and away, as did Carlton Westerdale. He was scoring against everybody last year.
Especially towards the end of the season as well.
18 goals in 26 league appearances for an attacking midfielder is not bad going. He's already got 4 this season, but maybe not quite as prolific as 2023 for Luke Lofts. Carita, good footwork from him. Slips it through a narrow gap for Lofts. Ball just ran away from him and Foligno swings a boot through it. Harpy attacking the high ball ahead of Choctaw. He goes Jamie Wilson. Nice angle on the cross. Foligno heads away. Wilson will settle for a throw. Absolutely torrential downpour in Reservoir. Oh, very composed work from Lawton there, the turn under pressure. And then he just lost his footing and slid into traffic.
Well, you spoke about how it's going to become a bit of a slip and slide out there at the moment, and that's the first example of it.
Carita. Wilson for Dante Conte now. Conte picking out Westerdale on the far side. Westerdale coming in field. Conte again. Spreads it to Cardillo. Just feigned to cross. And now he tries to whip it across the box. And he'll win Bulleen's first corner of the night. Cardillo. What can he produce here off the set piece? Dangerous delivery. It came off Rock Sandage, and then there was a handball against a Bulleen player off the bounce. Sponsor reel, Alex. Bon Scott restarts play short for Foligno. Floated ball picked off by Papi. Now Carita. Back with Wilson. Wilson. Lovely ball to pick out Marcus Demanch. The former Preston Lion who cuts inside and maybe takes one touch too many. Bainham. Marshalled tightly by Papi. No whistle. You see Will Bainham does like to kind of back into defenders and pin them like that, but Papi dealt with it well that time.
Well, he certainly has the strength on Papi, Will Bainham, but the speed that Papi has as well is what makes it that's probably definitely his most dangerous asset. As you know, you mentioned off the top, he's a natural fullback who has sort of made centre-back his own this season, and, you know, he's made things really interesting. Bagaric and Gergic was sort of the nominal partnership, but with Sean Cooper coming in as well, it's created more options for Bulleen to be able to rotate between a lot of them.
Valenti. Back to Mills. Well, Bulleen won't be familiar with Will Bainham's work because he was unavailable for round one, injured.
As he was, yes.
Oh, lovely pass from Leviticos. And Gibello lost his footing at the crucial moment. Still might be alive for Bainham. I just wonder if Will Bainham had gone down there. Kept his footing.
Good touch from Lofts.
Magic touch from Luke Lofts to set Marcus Demanch away. Very understated, but absolute quality from the Englishman. Conte. Cardillo. Papi. Just a little overcooked from Papi there, and Preston will regroup with a throw. Well, we've had plenty of promising attacking play, but no real shots of note so far this evening in the opening 15 minutes. Bainham for Jego. Well, there's a lot on the line for both teams tonight, with Northcote in action against Melbourne Victory on Sunday. Preston could close the gap to Melbourne Victory at the top of the table to 3 points until that game is played. Whereas Bulleen are in 7th, in the middle of the quagmire there. They could jump Langy into 6th place or potentially drop as far as 10th if all the results went against them, Nick. So they're desperate for points.
Yeah. Well, it's a big week for Preston. I mean, you mentioned only that South Melbourne game on Tuesday, but what comes next week as well when they play Melbourne Victory? So if they can get a win here and put pressure on, they'll be huge heading into next week.
Cardillo's cross blocked by Leviticos. Bulleen corner.
It's been a bit better here from Bulleen. Haven't really been able to cause too many problems, but they're starting to get a bit more of a foothold into this game. Almost feels like since the rain's come through, it's just unsettled things a little bit. It's made things a little bit more chaotic out there. We saw the slip a little bit earlier there with Gibello in an area where you'd back him to keep his feet and get a good ball into the area, but you just see how difficult it is for all the players out there at the moment.
Well, let's hope this rain backs off a little bit in the second half, but in the meantime, it's Cardillo. Floats one to the back post. Scott came and didn't collect, but a whistle goes for a little shove in the back. A nervy moment for Bon Scott there.
I've got to say, despite all the absences in defence for Preston, they're holding their own early, which is really good to see. This is a very quick Bulleen front line that's out there at the moment, you know, with Carita and Demanch and Westerdale's a lot of speed. When you've got a player like Loftus who sort of sits in behind and can pick out a pass from anywhere, they have to be at their absolute best and on their A game from the minute go in this game.
I should mention Dean Larson, also another absentee who was starting games regularly until his injury against Melbourne City. What a ball that is from Mills. And here comes Chock down. Up against Cooper. Can he keep his feet? Chock down needs support here. He finds it in Valenti. Dow returns the ball for Valenti to cross. And then Westerdale doesn't clear, and that's a decent effort from Luke Jago, blocked by Papi and behind for a Preston corner.
Seems like there might be a few of those sort of opportunities throughout the game, Josh, with just a little bit of chaos, those balls into the area with how the conditions are at the moment. So being in the right place at the right time, it might not be the most, you know, pleasing on the eye, beautiful football, but at the end of the day, if you can get the ball in the back of the net, that's all that matters.
Might be just through volume of attacking opportunities.
Just got to play the conditions.
Jago with a nice in-swinger. Keeper was unsure. Dow and then Roxandich with a floating effort. Well, it's on target, but it was never really in danger of troubling Ethan Reid. There's maybe a concern here. Head knock.
And it's just looking at Dante Conte as well, just getting some stretches in as well. Remember this, as we spoke about, something that Preston had to contend with last Friday, Josh, is coming off that 4-day turnaround. It's so hard to back up when you've played, you know, quite an intense game only a matter of days ago. So this is something that Bulleen are now contending with, that Preston did so well to deal with last week. And come on, that's what makes that win against Lane Warren so impressive, because, you know, you play Monday and then you're into a game on Friday. So, you know, being able to manage that and being able to, you know, push through, which, you know, you think as this game goes on, there's going to be a lot of sore bodies out there. So we'll see if and how Bulleen are able to manage that as this game goes on.
So it was Sean Cooper receiving treatment, and he'll have to go off for a moment. Drop ball taken, back underway. And Sean Cooper is allowed back on the pitch straight away. Cooper. Alec Mills read it well. Oh, and Wilson coming across, but Bainham somehow rides the contact and spreads it out for Chock Dow. Going at Cardillo. Dow clips it in. Gibello! 3 goals in 3 games for Wesley Gibello. He is becoming Mr. Reliable in front of goal for Preston. And once again, it's the man from Marseille who makes the impact.
Easy as you like. Great work down the right-hand side to cut through the Bulleen defence. A well-weighted ball in, and Wesley Gibello makes no mistake. He's been in some great form as of late, Josh. He's continuing that at the moment. You spoke about the fact with each passing game, it seems like he's finding more and more confidence, finding his feet with the match fitness, and this is a great little run from him, and that's just the easy as you like finish. You back him 10 times out of 10 to put that into the back of the net, and Preston lead.
Well, just brilliant lead-up work from Will Bainham. He would not be moved. I think Jamie Wilson was expecting him to go down and win a free kick. But Will Bainham said, no, I'm keeping my feet here.
Seems like players just bounce off him every time you try and contest with him in those sort of challenges. He's been such an asset for Preston since coming across this off-season. He's been huge for them, and that's exactly why when you've got players like Gibello and Dow and co that can sort of feed off the scraps, such a great player. Even when he's played alongside Matty Whelan when they went to the 4-4-2, and of course even, you know, no Conor Bell, who's on the bench today, you know, this sort of makeshift front three. But look at that ball in there as well from Chock Dow. That was absolutely put on a platter for him.
Such composure from Dow to pick his spot.
You've got to ask some questions there of the Bulleen defence, Josh, because, you know, just allowing Jabello just to glide into the back post. They were looking around in 6s and 7s back there, and it was just way too easy. Like, ball just comes in. And
is Jake Cardillo backing off a little bit for you there? Is he, because he's in the penalty area, chocked down. He's a step or two.
Yeah, I think he almost looked a little bit off balance for a second. I think Dow, the way he sort of wriggled his way around him a little bit. Cardillo looks like he sort of was a bit backwards and a bit all over the place there, and that just opened up a little bit of a gap for Dow. So, you know, I'm sure that will be coming up in the film meeting heading into next week.
It's Marcus DeManch. Flicks it on. Oh, Mills let it run. And it's in for Bulleen. And somehow Luke Lofts has nipped in ahead of the goalkeeper and equalised in the blink of an eye. A defensive calamity from Preston. Well, miscommunication between player and goalkeeper.
What happened there? That is...
So Bon Scott just didn't come.
Yeah, it looks like Mills and Scott, yeah, as you said, Scott just didn't come out. Mills looked like he was corralling it, waiting for Scott to come out. I think Scott might have thought Mills was just going to clear it away, and Lofts just glided in and was able to just round the goalkeeper easy as you like.
Well, death taxes and Luke Lofts scoring against the Preston Lions. That's 3 goals in 4 appearances against them. And it's one that the Preston backline will not want to see back again. Just a massive miscommunication. Mills was goal side. He had body position. Foligno was on the scene as well. And then somehow Luke Lofts just barrels his way through. And on the turn, off balance, as he's falling, just throws a toe at it.
Well, if you look back
and
there,
it trickles into the net.
And you just see Wesley Jabello's reaction in the front here. That just sums it all up. Look how frustrated he is. It's just almost a brain fade at the back there, and that one little just moment of hesitation opened the door for Lofts. And I do wonder if potentially Bon Scott's game's coming to an end here, Josh. It looks like maybe there's some sort of issue, maybe some sort of injury, or... I think Matty Simons might be getting ready to come on here, Josh. Or maybe not.
Well, maybe this is a precaution, I think.
No, I think he's going to continue.
Bon Scott's going to stay on if he can. Well,
what a weird few minutes.
We were still waxing lyrical over Preston's opener. And they've conceded a frankly slapstick equaliser.
It's just that moment of hesitation at the back you can't afford to have when you've got players like Lofts and Co in that front line, Josh. It's just that little bit of miscommunication, you know, not being able to clear your lines. And talking about it's coming up in film this week, that's certainly one that's certainly going to be front and centre.
And here's Scott again outside his area, and a lot more decisive that time. Well, he's been so good since he's come into the team, Bon Scott. It's originally for the Doherty Cup clash against Dandenong City. He's had a spectacular run of form. And that's the first real blot in his copybook in a Preston Lions jersey. If indeed you think it's the goalkeeper's fault, or maybe a defender for not clearing the danger when they had a chance.
Either way, it doesn't matter. It's a goal. You know, it's just that, it's just that moment of hesitation. Just, you know, no decisiveness in those moments, you know, just to clear the ball away, even if it's out for a corner or a throw-in, you know, you just got to get it out.
It's a shame as well for Alec Mills. He's had such a great start
Absolutely,
to this game. Yeah. It's brilliant for the first 20 minutes.
I mean, they've just opened up the door for Bulleen, because Bulleen this season, they've had a lot of games where they've fallen behind and haven't really been able to kick on and get back into contests. They've struggled against teams when they've been able to drop their heads in some games and they've fallen behind. You can't afford to give a team like this an opening when they've got so much individual quality in that final third. And now suddenly we've got a game where Preston probably could have really kicked ahead and really taken control of this game after going 1-0 up.
I think that kind of mistake speaks to a lack of familiarity in the back line, which is understandable when you think the centre-back combination for most of the season has been Anderson and Larson.
Yeah.
Then it was Anderson and Tchaikovsky. Briefly, it was Anderson and Mills. And now it's Mills and Foligno. It's been too much turnover in that position. Enforced turnover, of course, as Gibello thumps his cross into Ivan Gergic. And it's actually come back off the Frenchman and behind for a goal kick.
Feels a bit like how we saw last season early in the year when Preston had that injury crisis in defence, and we just saw a bit of a patchwork quilt in the hard defence. They were just trying to find answers, and there was that little bit of familiarity.
Cooper. Intercepted by Valenti. Well, if we thought the heavens had opened before, they're thundering down now. You'd be amazed if the players could see out there.
We're struggling up here.
Let alone control the ball.
Yeah.
It's Leviticos. Bainham. Nice move from Bainham. Well, it's not quite the Springvale White Eagles game in, I think, 2021 when I think the game was literally played in a pond. But you know, if this keeps up, although they have redone the drainage here at Geneseo Stadium in the intervening years, so it tends to hold up a lot better against this kind of downpour.
Just sense there's a little bit of frustration that's sort of seeped in for Preston ever since that equaliser. Just a little bit of not being able to really control this game as much as they'd like, as you know, probably a bit of column A, column B, with the conditions as well having a massive impact. So
it's Bainham's flick on for Lawton, and he will get a free kick. Quickly restarted. Mills for Dow. Dow trying to beat Cooper for pace. And Cooper deemed to have won the ball. Conte. Saw Roxandich lose his footing. Now Conte finds Westerdale. And this is the area where Carlton Westerdale likes to go to work. He unleashes the shots. Dom Foligno in the right place at the right time. And it's a Bulleen corner.
Key intervention there from Foligno. That's the one thing that Bulleen can do really well. We've spoken about when they break in transition, they are rapid, and it all starts through Dante Conte, number 88. He's just constantly go, 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 energise the bunny in the middle of the park. Can't afford to give Westerdale that sort of space on the edge of the area. It was a good block, but he's so dangerous in and around goal, especially from long range.
Floated ball from the corner kick. Cleared by Foligno. Let's see the
ball's just sitting.
Just got killed dead by the water. This is Lofts. Back to Conte. Dante Conte. Throws a little step over. Tries to bundle his way past Choctaw and does. We'll spin into traffic again, and Conte still going, but eventually possession eludes him.
It's going to be a fun little battle seeing Conte go up against this Preston midfield. He's one of the hardest midfielders to sort of prepare for and go up against, because he's just so, and he just provides so much energy in the middle of the park, and he just never gives in on a challenge. Very physical player as well. Jeez,
ball holding up again, and Luke Lofts takes advantage. Demanche deflected on the cross. Valenti sees it back to Bon Scott. There's always a little heart in mouth now in that situation every single time.
There was another sort of moment of hesitation there in the back, and Roxandich and co just sort of held, and then again Lofts just gliding in. He's such a hard customer to deal with, because he can just sort of just come in from nowhere. You know, he's a lot smaller than a lot of the players out there, and he just pops up out of nowhere, and you know, if you have that moment of hesitation, you know, you're going to invite that sort of pressure from a player like him who can just create something out of nothing.
Probably used to this sort of weather in Hull as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, this would feel like home for himself and probably for Jamie Wilson up in the highlands of Scotland.
Well, Preston have got their own star player from the north of England, but Conor Bell is on the bench tonight.
Sure, it won't be long before we see him in this second half.
You'd think so. It's Papi wrestling with Bainham.
Just look at how that ball is sitting, Josh. Like there's no give. It's like one touch and it's dead. You know,
there's
really.
No run. There's no bounce. Feels almost like they're playing with a futsal ball out there.
Looks like we're taking a step back in time out here. It'd be fascinating to see how the players deal with it. You know, sort of go from having to play in the ball on the deck, playing a little bit more, you know, possession based. Maybe have to go a little bit more route one.
Well, nice 1-2 between Gibello and Lawton, but it was Conte came in with the emphatic slide. Now Lawton twists his way out of danger, and Gibello's return was a little heavy. Hard to know what weight to put on the pass when just don't know if the ball's going to run or stop dead.
Certainly a frustration there from the assistant Christian Kristevsky. They're having a chat with the fourth official, I think, about one of those challenges.
Gibello, Bainham. Wilson got a touch. Gergic got his foot to the ball. Mills brings it down. Well, I wouldn't bet against seeing Matthew Whelan earlier than you might expect as well, just given that he provides a little bit more direct thrust and aerial prowess, might allow Preston to not rely on their short passing game so often.
Have even someone later in the game like Delano Ferro to get a final ball into the area, someone who can really cross the ball later in the game, bit of extra speed. Can also feed off the crumbs if there's long balls and you need someone at the feet of, you know, if someone like Dowd Gibello gets tired as the game goes on.
Sure.
Absolutely insane out here at the moment, Josh. He's just teaming down.
Roxandich. Lofts. Referee pays advantage with a little shirt tug. Now Westerdale tries to take on Leviticos. Never beating him for pace. Wilson.
I was going to say it'd be quite ambitious for really anyone to go toe-to-toe with Benny Leviticos in a in a foot race in this competition.
Benji is as quick as they come off the mark. Call him the Jet for a reason. Valenti. Carita nipping in front. And then Conte getting a favourable ricochet and finding Lofts. Westerdale up against Gibello. Gibello turns on the afterburners and holds off Wilson. And now the pitch opens up a little bit for Preston. And Choc Dow just hesitated to make the run in behind. You could see by Lawton's body shape, he was just trying to prompt him to nip in behind the back line, but Choc was holding his width.
Just have a look on the edge of Preston's box there, Josh. You can just see there's like a line of water that's just come up there. So the ball is just going to sit there in those moments. So keep an eye on that at home because it's going to be interesting to see how the players deal with it as this game goes on.
Roxandich. Will the wet save him here? Oh, Leviticos nearly taking out his coaching staff. Benji Leviticos is okay.
Yeah, I was about to say for a second that the fact that it's wet and it might have sat for him, it might have actually worked. He might have been able to chase it down, but I think the fact he slid, he missed the ball completely in the end, you know?
Oh, dear. That was almost Sol Campbell-like. Benji Leviticos quickly back up to his feet, which is good to see. I do remember a game where ball held up in the wet. He missed the ball on a slide tackle as a result of it stopping, and then he got sent off. Thankfully, no opposition players in the vicinity that time. Just Louis Otsevsky having to dodge out of the way. And well, I think the flag stayed down, so I think that's just a free kick against Will Bainham for holding his centre back. Didn't see a flag from the assistant.
Yeah, Louis Otsevsky just asking for a please explain there as well from the fourth official.
Unless the central referees decided to call an offside from the centre circle, which would be bold, to say the least. Although he is entitled to do that.
Yeah.
It's always the central referee's final decision on those things. Jego. Wilson. Stops and props and finds Cardillo. Westerdale. Leviticos committing strongly to the challenge. Lawton. Nice work to sidestep Wilson. 40 minutes played here. We're locked at 1-1. Neither side have had many clear-cut chances, aside from the Gibello goal and then the equaliser, which is a real defensive lapse. Jego. Lawton. Good spin from Lawton, and he was pulled to the deck.
It's just slipping and sliding out there at the moment between him and Jamie Wilson. It's been good today, Brendan Lawton. Got himself some decent areas.
And certainly his dribbling ability has been key in a game where passing isn't as effective as it usually is. Sometimes running with the ball is the most reliable option this evening. It's going to be Luke Jego to take this one, and they've sent all the tall timber forward. Only Benji Leviticos back to defend the counter. Jego hangs it high. Mills was in there. Roxanich too, and then Papi slides in to clear the danger. Preston corner.
Does feel like, Josh, set pieces for both teams is going to be the best avenue if this rain continues. We do wonder how the drainage will hold up in the second half, even if the rain stops. I mean, you know, when those balls come in and the ball's just sitting inside the box once it hits the deck, it's going to create all sorts of havoc for defences.
Valenti. In swinger from Valenti is a good delivery. Papi away. Cardillo. Well, Bulleen didn't leave anyone on the halfway line to start the counter. So Luke Jego's easily able to restart the attack. Gibello and Chock Dow popping up on the same flank. Dow losing possession to Carita. Now Conte away for Demanch. Play goes on, no whistle. Roxandish for Lawton. It's Valenti providing the width on the opposite flank. He was taking the corner, and he's had to stay there. Preston don't have a natural right footer on the right-hand side. Jego, good ball into the feet of Bainham. Bainham felt he was held. Hasn't got much change so far out of the officials, Will Bainham. Sometimes think his balance is so good, he's so able to absorb contact that it doesn't look like he's being fouled, when sometimes he might be copping a little bit of extra attention. Lawton. Bainham flicks it on. Foligno. Free header. Doesn't get much territory on it. Valenti Carita, little miscontrol, but he keeps it alive for Bulleen. Just over 2 minutes left in regulation in the dying embers of this first half. And it's descended into a bit of trench warfare in the middle of midfield here, Nick.
It's been an incredible first half. It's really had everything. We've had goals. The weather's come through and really made things interesting out there as well for both teams. And setting up for a big finish to this game. It's going to be a fascinating second half to see, you know, what happens from a condition standpoint, but as well both teams are able to do to manage it.
Carita now. Trickles out of play.
I think there's two players I'm really looking at in the second half, Josh, just to see once they're called upon for both teams. You mentioned Matty Whelan earlier. I think Dennis Menelaus the other for Bulleen. You know, very similar profile, a very physical player up front. As much as Marcus Demanch can cause problems for defences with his ability to score from range and his trickery, I think in these conditions you need someone who's just going to be able to hold the ball up and be able to bring it down. So they're probably the two names I reckon they're going to be looked at off the, two players we brought up off the team sheet quite soon. So we'll see what both Louis Etseski and Giuliano Femerino do in the maybe at half-time or in the second half at some point.
Well, we don't know what sort of condition he's in after falling ill this week, but Conor Bell is the ace up the sleeve as well for Preston. Foligno for Gibello. 3 minutes go up on the board. Gibello brought down, he thought. And then Leviticos with a bit of a temper flare. Hurls Jamie Wilson to the deck. Wasn't the most convincing free kick from Gergic. Good slide from Wilson. On the ball cleanly. It's been key for Bulleen in this first half. Cardillo, too casual. Lawton finds Valenti. Ball runs away from him a touch. It's back with Bon Scott. Three minutes added at the end of the first half. I think the fourth official's board has gone up twice there. So I
think he went a bit early.
I was wondering whether our match clock was a little fast, but maybe the fourth official just a little eager to get in the rooms at half time, as we all are, I think, in these conditions.
I don't think we're going anywhere. I think we should just sit it out for the next hour or so.
We'll be hunkering down up in the tower. Hope you're nice and tucked up warm at home. But having said that, make sure if you are watching on from the comfort of your living room, get your tickets for Tuesday night. That's not one you want to be watching on the live stream for. As much as we will be streaming, we'll be covering the game.
As much as also, let's just hope the weather's a little bit better as well. So
for that, well, let's hope. But
for getting all the rain out of the way now.
Regardless, even if it's like this again,
do get down.
It's a historic meeting between Preston and South Melbourne. First time in 11 years.
Get the waterproof puffer out, get the umbrella.
You want to be able to say, I was there. Well, 30 seconds to play in this first 45. Still all square. Any news on the scores from around the grounds, Nick? That's an original derby between the Knights and South Melbourne tonight. Keen to keep an eye on the form of Preston's opponents on Tuesday.
South Melbourne are up 1-0 as we head into second half stoppage time. Of course, that game started a lot earlier today than this one. I think around 7:30. And Dandenong City, Avondale 0-0 in the 75th minute. Moreland City, Green Gully 1-1 heading into half time. And the other game in VPL 1, Langwarrin leading against Bentley Green. So that's one to keep an eye on as well for Preston fans, given Bentley are nipping at the heels as well of Preston in that promotion battle.
Yeah, Bentley have raced up the table after a very, very shaky start to the campaign. Coaching change in the dugout. George Katsakis coming in, and they've gone on a bit of a run. But Langwarrin, with the lead at Kingston Heath, is a big, big result if that holds.
Huge for Langy. First win in a while.
They haven't won since round 5, Nick. After starting 4-1. I think it was 4 wins and a draw, actually. Roxandich going a little late on Conte. Referee pays advantage. Jago away. And there's going to be a yellow card shown for Andrea Roxandich.
Maybe for that challenge.
Yeah, I think just he's waiting for advantage to accrue, and then once the ball goes out of play, brought it back for the booking, as he's entitled to do. And that brings us to halftime. And it's all square, just as it was in round one between Preston and Bulleen. Wesley Gibello opening the scoring after a pinpoint Choctaw assist. His third goal in the space of 3 games. And then a bit of a defensive calamity, mix-up between defence and goalkeeper, allowed Luke Lofts to nip in and roll it home for 1-1. In very extreme conditions here at BT Connor Reserve. Nick Debano, your thoughts on the first half?
Very interesting first half. I mean, Preston came out of the blocks and they looked quite comfortable in possession. They were able to knock it around, really get a foothold of this contest. They took a deserved lead. It was a great finish from Wesley Gibello after some nice work in and around the area from Choctaw. But then, you know, just a moment of madness, really. Just a moment of hesitation and a massive calamity at the back. Opened the door for Bulleen and Luke Lofts pulled one back straight away. So throw another football cliche out there, Josh. They always say the most dangerous time to concede is right after you score. So, you know, that moment right there, it opened up the door for Bulleen, and suddenly we've got a game on our hands. And this weather, it's going to cause all sorts of problems, especially if it continues throughout the halftime break and into the second half. Because if you can see out in the field, there's little puddles emerging all over the place. That's going to make things quite interesting for the final 45.
Well, we will sign off and leave you with the halftime score here, with thanks to our matchday sponsor Northern Motor Group on the Preston Lions live stream. The halftime score is Preston Lions 1, FC Bulleen Lions 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the second half. Preston Lions 1, FC Bulleen Lions 1, and a slightly delayed start due to a protracted review of the playing surface. We were concerned for a moment there that the referees were going to call this one off, and we were going to have a replay at a later date, as is the rule if it's abandoned at this point. Well, it's a blank slate, but we have the green light from the match officials. My name is Josh Parrish. I've got Nick DeBarno alongside me in commentary this evening. Nick, it's going to be very, very challenging conditions in this second half. Even though the rain has eased off for the moment, there are a lot of deep puddles on this pitch. It was an absolutely torrential downpour in the first half.
Well, you'll see at home once we look at the right side of screen. The one area in particular the officials were looking at during the halftime break is that long puddle on top of the box that Preston will be defending in this second half, and there's a few of those areas they were testing the ball out, but it got the all go ahead, which is great news that we're able to keep this game going. But it's going to be fascinating. We spoke about how they're going to deal with the conditions now. Hopefully no more rain. Hopefully, you know, the worst of it's over, and we're able to continue. But we'll be keeping an eye on the bomb during the game and seeing what happens. As you can see there, look how it's holding up. It's going to be chaos out there.
Yeah, there's patches in the middle of the field, just outside each box. Very challenging. It's Dom Foligno. Gives a wave of apology to both his goalkeeper and his teammates after knocking that one out of play. And it's an early Bulleen corner.
So just keeping an eye on the radar, Josh. We are expecting potentially some more rain later in this game, so strap in.
Certainly are. So, meanwhile, let's see what's on Jack Cardillo's radar as he swings in this corner. Great delivery. Scott underneath it. Did just enough. Get it away from danger. And Carita onto the loose ball. Drives it in. Valenti stretching. Wharton's header as far as Puppy. Roxanich. And then Dante Conte almost taking out Luke Jego with the strike. Westerdale shows a clean pair of heels and unleashes from distance as well. Gibello. His crossfield ball is easily intercepted. I wonder when these sides will look to their benches. Preston have opted not to make a change at half-time.
Be interesting to see how both teams deal with the conditions, Josh. Who do you think's better suited to it? Because, I mean, Bulleen at home, they play on that synthetic pitch, which it's so rare that you ever see any sort of issues with the sort of always level nature of that pitch. Even when it's raining, it has great irrigation. But Preston, I mean, you know, would be more suited for them because they might be used to these conditions a little bit more playing on grass.
I would say it's also a leveler, these sorts of extreme conditions. And there's a little slip there from Cardillo. It might fall Will Bainham's way. Stay with play. Bainham galloping away from the challenge of Wilson and finding Chock Dow. And Dow is offside when he really didn't need to be. It must have been a close run thing.
That looks like a matter of inches there. I don't know. I thought for all money he was on. See the Preston fans in the grandstand there, Josh, not happy with that decision one little bit.
Yeah, well, you think Chock Dow looking across the line should have been able to spot that. Ooh.
Yeah, Brendan Lawton as well to his right.
It looks very tight.
Yeah.
Carita. Foligno. Now Luke Lofts onto the loose ball. Carita with the cross. Mills readjusted his body well. Jego forward to Bainham. Two defenders converge on the Queenslander. And then Valenti had to rush the ball up the touchline. Bainham just limping a little bit after careening into the dugout on that one. Not the first player we've seen that happen to, and Bainham is down hurt, holding a quad, I think.
Wonder what this will mean. I mean, Matty Whelan is the sort of that first name you'd expect that sort of leaps off the team sheet like-for-like replacement.
But I think Preston would have been hoping, so we watched Bainham just go for a little sixer.
Yeah, I think it's the sort of the uneven nature around that, maybe just pull up a little bit lame.
Yeah, just that dip from the pitch to the artificial surface in the dugout. Just slow himself all of a sudden.
Keeping an eye on things. Look, a couple of Preston players warming up to our right, Josh. I think one of them definitely is Conor Bell.
And I think that is Matty Whelan as well, going through his paces. So, well, from Preston's perspective, you would have hoped they'd both see the pitch together. It's been a devastating combination. Bainham is that more back to goal forward, and
we think in these conditions, Josh, as you mentioned, like, you know, them two playing up front would cause all sorts of problems because, you know, you can just have someone feeding off the scraps if Bainham's knocking it down and you've got someone just buzzing in around. And, you know, in these games, I mean, you have to go a little bit more route one when you look at how the state of the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Whelan is one who likes to play off the shoulder a little bit more and run the channels and attack the box. Sometimes Bainham's biggest strength is his undoing because he has to drop so deep to help with build-up. He can't get into the penalty area in time. So when you've got two of them out there, Whelan is there to profit. Well, they might have 1A on Tuesday as well, and not want to risk Will Bainham, who's probably first name on the team sheet this season with how well he's played. 5 goals and 6 in all comps. Incredibly important part of their overall build-up play as well. Valenti. Nice take from Bainham. Bainham to Jego. Just held up in the wet. Roxandich. Ooh. I think that was intended for Foligno. Ended up with Jego. Now Leviticos. Ooh, missed by Cardillo. Kirgic clumsily got something on it. Conte digs it out for Carita. Valenti favoured here and shakes off the attentions of the Japanese attacker. Valenti gets it back from Bainham. It's Wilson out to Carita again. Well, Carita just lost his dribble, and I don't think it was entirely his fault.
This is going to sum up the entire second half, really, those sort of moments.
Maybe we should stop going on about it, Nick.
Yeah,
it's such an ever-present effect on the game. Although it is a very neat excuse, you know, when you misplace a pass to look down at the turf. It's true tonight. Conte's effort falls short just as we speak about it. And Jego just couldn't lift it over Cardillo there. Well, I said dribbling was maybe more effective than passing in the first half. I'm not sure that's true anymore because sometimes you're leaving the ball behind. Foligno cleared only as far as Jamie Wilson. Roxandich sliding in. Has to be careful. He's on a yellow card. Absolutely.
I was going to say, you know, had to time that one to perfection because the last thing they need is to go down to 10.
And Dow with a well-timed challenge.
So Josh, just looking over the top here, Matty Whelan is stripped down and ready to come on.
I'm not surprised to see that. The question is who for? Is it a straight swap for Bainham with Tuesday night in mind and Bainham carrying maybe a little injury from a few moments ago? Or is it the Twin Towers, the big men up top in the duo, which we've seen this season to great effect? Roxandich and Lawton both with good tackles, and then Bainham leaves it behind. Mills.
I just wonder if Roxandich, because he's on that yellow card, maybe they'll go a little bit more attacking and take him off and go to in midfield with Lawton and Jego.
Yeah, could drop Lawton a little deeper. Back to Jego. Well, Lawton has been among Preston's best this evening, for my money. Might need to sacrifice his attacking intent.
Yeah, I think Conor Bell as well. I think his name's been called too, so double change, I reckon, in the offing, Josh.
Well, fresh legs, fresh ideas. Preston, who have rather laboured after copping that equaliser from Luke Lofts. You can see why conceding in that manner would demoralise a team. Mills. That's a superb ball from Mills. And here goes Jabello. Goalkeeper got a touch. It's on to Puppy, and that could have gone anywhere. It ends up as a Preston corner.
Very nervous moment at the back there for Ethan Reid, but just goes to show now the crowd's starting to get involved. Preston is starting to feel themselves a little bit. But what a pass from Alec Mills, Josh. That was absolutely cutting. He's had a couple of those today already. And in these conditions, it's going to be so key, having someone who can play those diags out from defence.
That was absolutely superb. And you just have to land it in the right spot tonight.
Yeah,
and it'll
just stick. Yeah. It's a great ball to Jabello.
That's one of his strengths, his distribution, Alec Mills. Come through the Melbourne City system. He's the target off the flick on. Half a shout for handball, more from the fans than players. And now Bulleen raced away on the counter through Jamie Wilson. What a tackle that is from Valenti.
That is brilliant.
And he springs back up and takes the ball the other way. And then Jago puts it into touch. Well, rather lost the momentum there.
It is just one of those evenings where you're going to see these moments of great little moments like that, and then there's going to be a mistake. It's just unbelievable out there.
Well, this is one of those nights where Preston need all the backing from the grandstands that they can get. You can see the fans are perked up in the second half. Maybe slightly more excited by the football when they realise they might not see any more this evening after the pitch inspections at half-time.
Well, we heard some words, you know, whoever was on the megaphone.
The megaphones, making their feelings known to the officials. Saying, play the game, guys. What are we doing here?
Just eavesdropping on the substitutions board, Josh. It's like it'll be Brandon Lawton and Chock Dow coming off.
Very attack-minded change. But Roxanich will be kept at the base of midfield just for a bit of added stability. And the Lofts, well, I think it's the same old story.
We don't
need to elaborate. Flicked on by Lofts for Demanch. A little deflection on it from Jago. Jago almost forced it through the gap. Now Conte. Valenti. Oh, look at the spin on that ball. Hard to change direction in these conditions as well. Carita closed down. Still manages to pick the pass to Marcus Demanch, and now it's Westerdale from an angle, and it drifts over the top of the goal. Oh, Westerdale took it on first time. Maybe he could have taken a touch there, Nick.
Yeah, perhaps. He was in a lot of space there, and I think more space than he realised, and really probably should have done better there. Carlton Westerdale was a good opportunity there for Bulleen.
And now there's that double change as he flagged, Nick. On comes Matty Whelan and Conor Bell, Brandon Lawton and Chock Dow replaced. So Preston have brought out the big guns. This is their first choice forward line.
This is almost as attacking as it can possibly get, because you have Roxanich who's just going to sort of sit, and you're going to have really be attacking with 5 if Jago sort of drops in as that player with the late runs.
It's Luke Jago. Link it together for us, please. And a front 4, all guns blazing.
Still have Delano Ferro as well on the bench, who can be thrown on if they're looking for more speed out wide later in this game. So one to keep an eye on too.
Even Jacob Kresno, who played as a winger,
scored a nice goal
last week and scored his first Preston Lions goal. Bainham turns it around the corner. Whelan with his first touch. Oh, and that was a dangerous bit of defending. Referee waves off the handball, appeals against Sean Cooper.
Oh, that was a very nervous moment there. I think Sean Cooper was expecting that to come carooning up to his chest in normal conditions, but in the end it just dropped short. It stopped short, you know. So a very nervous moment there for the Kiwi defender.
Stopped short and he stuck out an arm, and you can thank his lucky stars he got away with it. Lofts. Luke Lofts for Bulleen. On to Dante Conte. Now Westerdale. Onto the right foot this time. Arrow delivery headed away by Foligno. And the whistle goes against Westerdale. Benji Leviticos first to the loose ball.
Just keeping an eye on things from a Bulleen persuasion, Josh. Looks like Dennis Menelau's going through his run-throughs as well. That's probably the expected change we'd see from at some point from Bulleen. And the rest of the Preston bench has also gotten the word to get up and start warming up. So you mentioned Kresna, Pharaoh, but the other one is also Nick Dibb as well. So you do wonder if, looking for more midfield stability, it could be someone to look at too. Great assist as well last week too.
Yeah, from the set piece, Nick Dibb. Alec Mills. Whelan trying to make something of it. Battling with two white shirts. Westerdale wins out eventually. And then brought down by Whelan. Jego. Flicked on by Bell. Here's Bainham. Has Whelan in support. Goes wide to Matty Whelan. The Preston counter flowing forwards now. Whelan onto the roof of the net. I think it was a cross. Looking for Will Bainham at the far post. Just overcooked it, the Irishman.
First real impact for Matty Whelan since coming on, Josh. And that was a ball into a very dangerous area, but in the end just wasn't able to get that one in play.
Jego. Carita's flick on. Valenti bravely in ahead of Demanch. Oh, it drops kindly for Whelan. Ivan Gergic did enough. Just over an hour played, still locked at 1-1. It's been such a tight battle between these two sides last season and this. Conte, Carita. Mills off the chest. Calmly done from Alec Mills. Oh, brilliantly done, Mills. Well, so what you like about his role in the Bulleen equaliser. He's been otherwise excellent. To the feet of Bell. Cops some late contact, Conor Bell, and he's still down.
So safety first as well there from Pup. He wasn't sure if he was putting that one out for an injury or just trying to clear things away.
I think it's one where you clear your lines, then claim you were being magnanimous in order to try and get possession back.
I think as well at the moment, you just got to play safety first every time, given the conditions at the moment. Nothing fancy.
Absolutely. Valenti, a lot of air underneath that one, maybe too much. Still awaiting that Bulleen change.
There's Dennis Menelau. I think he's getting ready to come on any minute now. So scored 6 goals this season. He's been a very, very good player for Bulleen up front. I think quite an interesting move not starting him today. I mean, I know it is a short turnaround, but, you'd think in these sort of conditions, wanting a little bit more physicality up front, especially going up against a makeshift defence, you might want to go with that, but
Ivan Gergic losing his footing, but still did the job.
So the fans are really starting to get involved now. The megaphone's out.
Getting stuck in, as are the players. What can Preston conjure here? Leviticos with the throw. It's off Whelan into the corner. Matty Whelan dug it out with the back heel, but it's turned over to Bulleen. Demanch flicks it on. Only as far as Alec Mills, who was sweeping up behind. Well, Bon Scott just waiting for His big strikers to get in position for this. Cardillo did well, judged the ball in flight. Leviticos has Westerdale behind him. Likes to take a touch and he's lost out to Carlton Westerdale here, Benji Leviticos. Westerdale keeps his feet. Looking for Carita at the far post. Valenti got just enough on that. And here comes Dennis Manuel.
Looks like Marcus Demanch is coming off, Josh.
Well, no joy for Demanch against his former club tonight. So it's a straight swap up front, but two very different styles of strikers.
Yeah, Demanch's wait for a first goal for Bulleen continues. Been a tough evening for him, but now against someone like Manuel who I think is perfect for these conditions. It's going to be a handful for the Preston defence, but be fascinating to see, you know, how they deal with it. Very different kind of striker, someone who's a lot more physical. It will allow Bulleen to play a lot more direct, so something Preston's defence certainly need to be, you know, prepared for in this final part of the game.
This is, Dante Conte clips it to the back post, looking for Westerdale. That was excellent lead-up work from Conte, but Preston's defence holds firm for now. Turned over to Wilson and then Westerdale. Leviticos sliding in. It was Lofts. It's blocked en route. I think partially by a Preston player, maybe partially by a teammate there.
Strong challenge as well on Wilson, who's still pulled up a little bit lame on the edge of the area, but I think it was all ball.
He's back to his feet now, Jamie Wilson. And Bainham lost out in the 50-50. Conte lifts it over the back line. Little telegraph that time.
As we saw there, that was a very nervous moment at the back before, Josh, at the back for Preston. I mean, Luke Lofts in such a good position. Like, he's the last person you want to give any sort of space to in that sort of area, and lucky to some desperate defending in the way to deny him because he usually buries those. So still, as much as I think Preston have probably been the better of the two sides in this second half to have more of the ball and everything, Bulleen still pose a real threat going forward.
Jago. In fact, it was Matty Whelan. Now Jago with the challenge on Conte. Jago forces it forwards. Easy for you to say. Wilson.
Looks like another change is coming for Bulleen, Josh. Vince Nicoletti getting ready to come on. He's a speedy fullback, so it'll be fascinating to see who they decide to take off. He's someone to really keep an eye on. Was very good in the cup against Essendon Royals.
Looks like it's going to be Westerdale who comes off. So that's an interesting reshuffle.
That's
on paper a defensive-minded change, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, Vince is a very quick player and he's a great cross of the ball. But this, you know, when you do have Hussein Al-Sharifi and Finn Harbinson as well on the bench, usually they're someone that you'd expect to be called upon. But instead going to Vince Nicoletti, who hasn't had too many opportunities this season, but he gets his chance now. I thought quite a bright game as well from Carlton Westerdale on the left flank. You can tell just as well he doesn't look too pleased as well that his number got called. I thought he was having quite a good game. I think it's quite a peculiar change if you ask me.
They're going to 3 at the back here, maybe 5. See how Bulleen shape up. Meanwhile, it's Luke Jago. On for Bell.
Yeah.
Rock Sandage.
Looks like, yeah, they've gone to a 3-4-1-2 of sorts, or a 5-2-2 or whatever, you know, like it's...
Yeah, it's definitely wing backs anyway.
Yeah, Nicoletti shifting in as an extra centre-back. That's just a...
very interesting change.
I mean, it allows Carita to play off the shoulder of Menelau, but it's, you know, you lose a lot of width.
Maybe trying to play a little bit more direct with two strikers.
Potentially.
And try not to give away anything defensively as a result. Well, that's a rather uncompromising challenge from Carita, but he escapes without a booking. Foligno's ball, headed away by Meanwhile, it's Bainham who takes over. Valenti to cross. Header away from Puppy. Here's Luke Lofts for Bulleen. Leaves the ball behind. Menelau can't control. Cardillo runs out of real estate. Seems like every possession is concluding in an appeal for a free kick now. It's just got really scrappy out there. Chant goes up from the grandstand. Fans in full voice as they try and propel their team home in very difficult conditions.
See Preston 8-game winning streak, Josh.
Nick Dibb is maybe getting ready to come on, it looks like. So some midfield reinforcements.
Don't mind this change, get a little bit more stability in the middle of the park.
Could be a straight swap for Jago, could be Roxandich off and a more aggressive change.
Yeah, on that yellow card as well, which is still danger sign, especially if Bulleen are able to break.
Or it could be Bainham if he's struggling and back to a midfield 3. Fourth official having a few words with Bulleen coaching staff. Whelan with a lovely spin. Gibello and then Bainham sends it in behind for Bell. Goalkeeper stays on his line. Here goes Conor Bell. Is this the moment? It's in! Conor Bell off the bench and onto the score sheet. He's not been on long, but he's made the telling contribution. And Preston lead once again.
It just had to be him, didn't it, Josh? He's the man for the occasion. It's a great ball over the top, and he had that space in behind Cooper. It sat up for him well. The conditions actually suited him there. Desperate defending from Papi, who I think got in the way of Ethan Reid, who may have actually been able to save that, but in the end, the deflection works out, and Preston take the lead.
Oh, debatable whether Reid would have got a hand to that.
Even if he did, it might not have been enough anyway, but
loops up off the knee of Papi and trickles in, much to the agony of Bulleen. Oh, Conor Bell doesn't need long. Usually the first name on the team sheet.
It's a huge moment here for Preston, Josh. They've really had to weather these conditions, weather the storm. It's not easy out there at the moment, especially. Bulleen have provided a stern test, but that's a massive goal there for Conor Bell. And considering as well he's been sick all week, to come on and have an impact just goes to show he doesn't need much of the ball, Josh. But when he's in and around goals, he's so deadly. Geez, the pressure's now on Bulleen, Josh. They lose this. It'll be 8 games in a row.
He's Menelau. That would be 9 wins in a row for Preston in all comps if they can see this through. Of course, when they conceded in the first half, it was right after their goal, so they've got to be switched on here. So Ground Marshal just dealing with the very muddy conditions to try and return the ball.
Just having a double change in the works here for Preston, Josh. Looks like Delano Ferrer and I think Jacob Kresnar coming on.
Cooper goes over. Valenti got the ball first, but then collected a good piece of the man.
So I'm just looking that the instructions gone to Hussein El-Sharifi, Dimi Paraskos and Finn Harbinson to get up for Bulleen and start doing their warm-ups. So expect both teams to really start to empty the clip in the next little bit, Josh. See Sean Cooper getting some treatment as well on that far side for Bulleen after that challenge.
As I was saying, Conor Bell, usually first on the team sheet. Went downhill this week, but he's made the most of his cameo appearance. One of the strangest assists I've ever seen from Will Bainham. Just knocked it into the air, playing the conditions.
You got to do what you got to do in this weather.
Just got to get it over the defence and it'll land where it may.
So just eavesdropping on the board, Josh. That number 2's up for Preston as well. So we've Dom Folino. He's going to be coming off here for Jacob Kresnar as one of those changes. Maybe Jacob Kresnar or maybe Andrea Roxandic at the centre-back.
I would say Roxandic would be the more likely, I would have thought.
I do wonder if maybe Delano Ferro's coming on for someone like Wesley Gibello or one of the fullbacks just to solidify things. Saw how good Delano was last season, Josh. He was
a makeshift defender,
yeah, absolute find as a fullback.
Doesn't love playing there, but, you know, who does? Mighty effective in that role. And that's Wesley Gibello. You called it, Nick. He's going to come off for Preston. As well as I think it is indeed Dom Folino coming off. So a defensive reshuffle. Bit of confusion here about the board, maybe.
Or maybe it's not Dom Folino.
Team manager Tommy Petkowski coming across to try and clear it up.
So let's see, who is it?
You'd see Dom Folino was very confused. We were busy trying to rationalise it.
I think it's Benny Leviticos.
Yeah, Benji's coming off.
That makes a bit more sense then.
It's going to be a straight swap. So Conor Bell across to the right. Jacob Kresnar is going to reprise his role as a winger.
And Delano Ferro at fullback.
Delano Ferro at right back, which in his favoured role, but he's pretty good there. Kresnar, little back heel from Whelan was crafty. Kresnar didn't have room to pick out Bell on the far side. Menelau off the shoulder, a little bit too powerful that time. Ends up with Cooper. Sean Cooper, I would suggest, a touch fortunate to get away with that touch, but how do you think this change to 5 has worked out for Bulleen, Nick? Seemed like they were maybe trying to hold on for a point. Haven't got a foothold since then.
Yeah, just an odd change, I think, at this point, Josh, you know. Not that I don't think the back 5 was the cause of conceding that goal, but I just felt that, you know, when they were going in their 4-2-3-1 and going man for man, they were right in that game. Like, it's not as if that they were being smashed around or anything. So, look,
maybe with, you know, 2 up top for Preston in possession, they were a little worried about.
Yeah, look, that's understandable. That's understandable. And maybe it was to get Carita centrally and playing off the shoulder of Menelau. But we'll see, because I mean, Vincent Nicoletti, as I said, he can get forward. His best trait is getting forward, as you can see here.
Well, maybe he'll join the attack when Bulleen have the ball, as he has done here.
So I think there's going to be a triple change for Bulleen, Josh. I think Dimi Paraskos, Hussein El Sharifi and Finn Harbinson looking likely.
Valenti. Picked off by Sean Cooper. Cooper into space. Should be an easy claim for Bon Scott. That's going to be a Preston ball. Must have just taken a nick on its way. So Bulleen get ready to empty the clip. It's these sort of grinded out results when the going gets tough. The making of promotion and championship winning teams, and Preston know that. Been times this season where they have been the better side and haven't managed to ground it out. Just in the last couple of months, they've found a little bit of extra steel, a bit of extra resolve. And there's that triple substitution for Bulleen.
So it looks like we got no subs aboard, Josh, so it's going to be Sean Cooper. I think Dante Conte. And I think Mark Carita has been subbed off on that far side.
There you go. So let's see what the shape looks like now. Maybe back to the 4-2-3-1.
Well, no, I think they're sticking with what it was.
There you go.
I think Al-Sharifi just filling in at wing back, and then Paraskos taking contest spot in the middle of the park, and Harbinson playing off the shoulder of Menelau.
There you go. Clever flick from Whelan. Drops Bulleen's way. Cardillo losing the footing. And Preston fans with the ironic jeers, and now alleging that Jamie Wilson may have stolen a few yards off the throw. Cedes it to Cardillo. Lofts. Harbinson. Oh, another lovely back heel from Whelan. And Will Bainham tearing around, but can't find an avenue. Now, Hussein Al-Sharifi has a bit of room. Hangs it up. Flicked on by Valenti. Was that handball against Lofts? Play goes on for Luke Lofts! And Bulleen a level again. And it's that man, Luke Lofts. Ball took a deflection on its way through. And he cannot stop scoring against the Preston Lions.
So a call there for a handball in the build-up, Josh. Deflection on the way through. Nonetheless, it's an equaliser here for Bulleen.
I have to have another look at that one. Ooh. Suspicious control off the arm from Lofts. Not sure. In the end, referee's decision's final. And the score is 2-2 here, and we're all level once again. Looked like it came off a hand for mine, Nick. I'm not sure about you, but... Preston will have to find another way. Gather themselves again.
It's a real sucker punch there for Preston, Josh. I mean, did look like, from our vantage point, my first reaction was that it did come off the arm of Lofts, and he shot just wrong-footed Bon Scott, and there we go. Now it's 2-2, and it's game on heading into these final few minutes. I mean, it felt like for all money that Preston were going to cruise and come away with 3 points, but now suddenly set for a grandstand finish here.
Apologies for our scoreboard being incorrect for a moment there. Score is Preston Lions 2, Bulleen Lions 2. That one wrong foot's Matty Whelan. The air has really gone out of Geneseo Stadium now. Can the team and the fans lift as one yet again and find another way past Ethan Reid in the Bulleen goal? Bon Scott clears into touch.
Can Preston get themselves up again, Josh? I mean, you know, they've already got themselves up once. To retake that lead, these conditions are difficult. Got the crowd behind them. Such a sucker punch to concede, though. Still got Nick Dibb on the bench as well if they want to go and bring on some more fresh legs. But they've certainly got all the attacking calibre out there to try and get themselves a win.
It was excellent work from Bell, and then Valenti with an awful turnover. And here goes Finn Harbinson. Harbinson drives it straight at Bon Scott, but every shot on target is a nervy one for either goalkeeper in these conditions.
That was just, I don't even know what really happened there. Valenti, the ball just got caught in between his legs. That kind of
popped out like a watermelon seed, Nick, the wrong way, as far as Preston were concerned. Extraordinary.
It's one player you don't want to gift the ball to in those areas, Josh. It's Finn Harbinson. I mean, he's a young kid with an absolute bucket load of talent. Look at that.
It's come off his heel.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Nicely flicked on from Bainham for Whelan, and here's Jacob Kresnar. Kresnar goes to the byline, checks back inside. Cut back as far as Luke Jego, in towards Whelan. Off the chest of Cardillo. Now Paraskos. Kresnar onto the loose ball. Farrow. Collision between Farrow and Menelau. Play allowed to run on through Jamie Wilson. Menelau lining up his sights from way, way downtown.
It was always going to be extremely speculative effort there from Dennis Menelau.
Well,
in these conditions,
I don't hate it. If you can get it on target, which he didn't there by a long way, but...
Well, we saw that Luke Lofts effort. I know it went through a sea of bodies, but, you know, it caught Bon Scott off guard. So I think for both teams, a shoot-on-sight policy when you get a bit of space might not be the worst thing, even if it is an extremely speculative one from 30 yards, just given how the ball's sitting and bouncing and skidding everywhere at the moment.
Well, both teams have had 3 shots on target tonight and scored 2 goals, Nick, so it's not the worst policy. Lofts. Paraskos. Oh, that's just off the mark, but Dimi Paraskos was mighty close there.
Yeah, it was a lot closer than it looked there for a second, Josh. He kind of just got it out from underneath him, and that was just over the crossbar there from Dimi Paraskos, who's still looking for his first Bulleen goal, and what a moment that would have been for him if he was able to find the back of the net. But it's felt like, if anyone's looked more likely to find the winner here, Josh, it's felt like Bulleen. Preston need to find another way. They need to find another avenue getting forward again, you know. They just... It seems like the sparks just lost a little bit after conceding that goal.
Jego. Valenti. Neatly worked between the two. Matthew Whelan running the channel. Whelan rides the challenge. Clicked into the box. Headed away by Nicoletti. Rock Sandich. Oh, did Preston have another burst in the legs?
There's still plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Valenti. Whelan. Thought he was wrestled to the deck there, but no whistle. Valenti. Bainham climbing.
Here it comes again, Josh.
Al Sharifi and the rain coming down. Whistle goes against Will Bainham, just overzealous in his attempts to win back the ball, and well, there's just no way Bulleen are going to be allowed to take the free kick from 10 yards further than it was awarded. Very hopeful from Luke Lofts, but I would say don't push your luck, mate.
You could argue he's already pushed his luck once. So
yeah.
You got a touch fortunate with twice.
I wasn't going to spell it out, Nick, but...
He won't be complaining, though, especially if they're able to get a draw out of this game. Well, listen to that.
Harbinson Jago's clearance is picked off. Cardillo now for Luke Lofts, who lines up his sights yet again, and Bon Scott comes up with a big stop.
Again there, you don't want to leave Lofts with that sort of space. He's feeling himself at the moment. He's on a hat-trick, and very nervous moment for the Preston defence.
Bulleen nearly left themselves open, but brilliant work from Dimi Paraskos. Racing back. Lofts away from Roxandich. Mills steps in. Oh, that's a dangerous slide. You would have thought from Paraskos. It just picked up pace off the wet surface. I don't think he meant it.
5 minutes of added time, Josh.
Lofts. Hearts and mouths around Jenna Steele Stadium whenever Luke Lofts gets the ball outside the box. Paraskos. Oh, and it's flicked on by Harbinson. And straight at Bon Scott. And that was a big chance.
Yeah, there's been a couple of really good chances here, Josh, down the stretch for Bulleen. Preston need to be careful because there's been a couple really good ones. I mean, that Lofts chance the edge of the area, and there, Harbinson in a good position.
Oh, Bulleen just smell blood at the moment. Wilson was tripped. And referee waits for advantage before pulling it back for the free kick on the halfway line. Puppy. Harbinson's flick. Pharaoh. Just away in time. Jago sizes up his options. Sends Pharaoh into space. Nicoletti with the covering challenge. Pharaoh. Good distance off the throw. Oh, Conor Bell was almost in. Pharaoh keeps it alive. Jago. Thumps it forwards for Whelan, who can't keep it. Oh, and Ethan Reid nearly spilt it.
Oh, it was almost fell right into Jacob Kresnar's lap.
Well, that's a lesson for every attacker. Follow up. You never know.
Nothing feels certain
You
out there at the
just
moment.
never know. And we still have no idea which way this game might be going, even as we enter stoppage time. We've played 90 seconds of stoppage time already. In the dying throes of this wild, very strange game we've had. Luke Lofts with a clean pair of heels. Harbinson. Pharaoh, key defensive intervention. And now Roxandich. The other way for Preston. Kresnar. Can't get the ball to Kresnar. Here goes Lofts for Bulleen. It's a mad scrap out there. It's schoolyard football.
This is insane.
Harbinson. Still going, Finn Harbinson whips it into the box off the chest of Mills. Nicoletti. Oh, they've sounded the sirens in the grandstand. Jago fires it forwards. Gergic steps in. Luke Jago was fouled quite cynically there. Preston don't really care about the booking. They just want to get the game back going. Pharaoh drives forward into traffic, brought down. And the whistle does go, and Preston might have one last chance to sling a ball into the box. And this could be for all the marbles.
Yeah, clear as day foul. Big opportunity here for Preston. You just wonder, is the instruction going to come yet? I don't think it's that stage yet to get Bon up for this one.
Well, it's 2-2, Nick. I think it would be bold to send the keeper forward.
I'm pulling your leg.
Still a point to defend. What can Valenti produce? Is that wall 10 yards back? He's just stepped straight back forward onto the mark, but Valenti delivers it anyway, and it's Matty Whelan! Incredible! Preston win it in the final minutes! Matthew Whelan! The grandstand goes nuts! And a wild night at Geneseo Stadium has a fitting conclusion. Listen to that noise. It's a full squad knee slide, Nick.
Let it breathe. What a moment. What a moment. You just felt like there was going to be another twist to this game, didn't you, Josh? Bulleen have done all the pushing. And just that one moment, that's all it took in these conditions. It doesn't have to be pretty. But that is a massive, massive goal. Matthew Whelan. What a header through a sea of players as well. It seems like he was a little bit shocked at it happened, and then he just went away. He's a great seat. He's a great seat. You know, I'm lost for words. That is incredible.
Well, can Preston hold on now?
Looks like we're going to get Nick Dibb on now, Josh.
I thought the fourth official was showing us 5 more minutes of stoppage time. Oh dear. That's going to be Will Bainham who comes off. Nick Dibb.
He can barely move, Will Bainham. He's put in a shift. What a great shift from the big man up front, Josh. What an evening this is. What a huge, huge result. These two teams always play out cracking games. Thank God that they restarted this game. Thank God. We wouldn't have got all this.
Imagine being robbed of that finish.
I'm telling you, it wouldn't have happened if we had a replay. Not like this.
Bulleen, one last roll of the dice. Papi. Surely they couldn't do it again. Jamie Wilson leaves it behind. The final whistle sounds. Preston Lions win it in the most dramatic fashion. And on a rain-soaked night at BT Conor, we get the wild finish that this game deserved. Preston will go into that massive cup tie against South Melbourne, riding the wave of this feeling. It's Matthew Whelan, left unmarked, with a brilliant delivery from Adrian Valenti. And he just doesn't miss those. The Irishman coming up with his 6th goal of the season. And once again, he makes the big impact off the bench. 2 goals to win it last week against Langwarrin. And the killer blow in stoppage time, the 5th minute of stoppage time at that. Nick Debano, how do you sum up this game?
Oh, what a night. What a night. I mean, if this is the start of what this week could be for Preston, this could be one of those weeks, Josh. You can feel there's a lot of magic in this place at the moment. It's absolute just heartbreak for Bulleen. But that's the beauty of football. When there's heartbreak, there's also jubilance for the other side. And Preston, look, these conditions, it's not going to turn into pretty football, but you've just got to get it done. The goals, they're not goals going to be going back and, putting out in the best of, but that moment there from Matt Whelan was all worth it. They had to defend hard. Bulleen were coming. And he got his head onto in the right place at the right time, and those scenes are going to live long in the memory of this club. The knee slide in front of the fans, As you said, the whole team got involved. The bench spilled out here. Oh, what a game. What a game. This team right now, Josh, this team, compared to where this was around maybe this time last year, where things weren't looking so good, there's a real tangible feeling in the air. You can feel it, you know, and this is a really good feeling for the Lions. I can't wait for Tuesday night, Josh.
It's going to be
Bring on South
sensational,
Melbourne. It's going to be a great night.
Through championship wins, through promotions, through last-minute winners, I have rarely heard a roar from the Preston grandstand like that. That was electric, and the fans who stayed here tonight through the most inhospitable conditions will always remember where they were when Matty Whelan's header hit the back of the net. Make sure you're here on Tuesday as Preston look to make more memories for a lifetime. We'll sign off here and leave you with these post-game scenes as Preston celebrate the final score at Jenna Steele Stadium. Preston Lions 3, FC Bulleen Lions 2.
I just had that feeling they got the free to come. I think it's fucking good. I think it's fucking good.